Last year we had a property insurance inspection and we've taken care of everything on the list that they gave us except for one item, and that's scraping and painting our trim. We've had 6 months to do this, but it's been too cold, so now it's springtime weather and we've got to jump on this project.
And we have 30 days to complete this work.
Yeah, and so normally that timeline might be enough, but in this case it's going to be tough. The trim is in really bad shape. It's been let go, so it's going to take a ton of work just to get those surfaces prepared for paint and primer, let alone actually putting primer on and putting paint on the surface.
So not only are there problems with the condition, but there's lots of it. This is a 3-story, 4-unit building. The trim has lots of angles. It's really wide, especially at height. So that means a lot of ladder work and roof time for this guy.
Yeah, Laura doesn't do anything at heights, so that'll all be on me.
I am deathly afraid of heights, so I'll be staying on the ground. So we're going to show you how we approach preparing all the trim on this 4,000 square foot building for painting by ourselves.
Well, remember, your mom volunteered to come help us.
Oh yeah, my mom's going to be on site too.
Yeah.
Hello.
But before we go any further, please subscribe if you like what we're doing and you want to follow us as we go through this big property and get it back into shape. All right, now this is an old building. It was built in the late 1800s, so there's a lot of layers of paint. It's really thick in some places. And some of those paint layers have lead in them, so we've got to take some precautions. We did consider just replacing the trim altogether, but there were a number of reasons why we didn't want to do that. For one, it's really intricate, complicated trim, so it's not just simple as just popping a board off and putting a new one back on. There'd be a lot more work involved in that. It's also the original stuff, so there's a nostalgia factor about keeping the old, original woodwork. We'd like to do that if we can. And then the gutters were put on as an afterthought, and so you got the drip edge and the gutters that are also in the way, so you'd add that work on top of it. And not to mention, we're talking about, again, a lot of wood if we want to replace it like for like, and it would be a pretty substantial cost. So for those reasons, we decided to go ahead and scrape. And again, I say scrape because we're not going to be using a power sander or anything like that. That creates a lot of dust. We're going to try to collect all these chips, and so we want to make sure it's big chips that we can just scrape off by hand. They fall down and we can collect them properly. So there are definitely some downsides to scraping. That's why people don't always do it. For one, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of elbow grease, literally. On the other hand, it also can leave a rough finish. It doesn't get things as smooth as sanding. So you can have something that doesn't look like it's a perfectly smooth surface. Now, this is a rental unit, so you can judge what level of quality you want for that. And a lot of this trim is also at heights where you just aren't close enough to see those imperfections. So for us, we felt like it was the best bang for our buck.
For this work, we will be wearing the standard N95 dust mask, much more comfortable than a half-face respirator. And for a one-off DIY project such as this, it should work just fine. In the past, we have done projects where we had to scrape lead paint. We wore the N95 and actually had our blood levels tested for lead, and it's been within normal ranges. Now, when we're doing overhead work and we're getting it right in the face, we will opt for that extra level of safety where we wear the half-face respirator and the P100 cartridges, as well as a wide brim hat. And then, of course, we will also be wearing safety glasses and gloves. Tools that we'll be using, basically a wide variety of hand scrapers, different lengths, different widths, different angles, different thicknesses. This will allow us to get into our trim, which is very ornate, and work with any crevice or surface that we need to. And then after scraping, we'll hit everything with a wire brush and wipe it off for painting. Nice spring day for scraping some paint.
I'm hungry.
To see how we got rid of the algae from these baseboards, click on the link above. This baseboard paint is coming off like butter. You can see the most recent layer of paint is just peeling right off. It's certainly not what we want the fate of our paint to be. This alligator skin paint is the worst. It's chalky, but really stuck on. You can't just paint over what's there because you can see this white layer was the last exterior paint and it's just cracking off. This is going to be a tough section to do by hand. I've been working for 2 days on one of the side porches. I've gotten the windows scraped. And now I've been working on the columns, and there's 4 of those on this porch. And I'm only at the top of the second column. The neighbors probably think that we've hired the slowest painting company in town to do this work. But we'll get there. Back to scraping in the rain this time. Everything is soggy today. The tarp is soggy, the wood is soggy, the paint is soggy. Just like some of the baseboards, the end of the side porch was covered in a thick layer of algae that needed to be removed before painting. So it's mid-month, gotten a bunch of the scraping done.
We got a lot of the easy scraping done. All the stuff at heights up under the eaves on the second and third floors. We gotta hit hard. Top face respirator is critical, especially when you're right below the eaves, so just taking it right in the face. Alright, so I look comfortable, but I'm really not. On the roof of the front porch of the building. The reason I'm up here is to deal with this disaster. Neglected for decades. This trim is huge. This trim is, that's about 9 inches. Then you got another 16, 18 inches here. Then you got different boards here. There's a lot of detail, which is great when it's painted. Looks real nice, but it's gonna be a heck of a job to scrape this down, clean it all up, and then, really work in a good primer coat, because I'm just really worried about how good this is going to bond. I don't know if this is going to be a job where we could scrape for the rest of our lives until everything's bare wood. So some places this stuff comes off like butter, so smooth and easy. Other places it keeps coming off, it's just slow. So just gotta keep going.
The last batch of collected paint chips. This building is ready to be painted.
All right, that was hard. Took a lot of work to get where we are, but it feels good to be done scraping. Our surfaces are finally prepped.
Yeah, so it took a better part of a month. We have a little less than 2 weeks to finish all the painting, but luckily we've been painting a little bit as we go.
Yeah.
So we don't have the entire building to paint.
Yeah, we still got a lot of work to do, and we've got a lot of time to do it, but it still feels good to be past scraping, and
yeah,
now we can just go fast.
So yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
All right, so can I talk now?
Playing a game. My brain is malfunctioning right now. I'm just so mad at you that I just can't. Can you just say hello to the camera?
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Pretty dirty and hot out here. Coming to you guys live, not really live. So last year we had a property, up a little forward. Come on. And that's, so there are definitely some downsides.
Start over because I just cleared my throat.
And so you can't do it when that's going off.
And cut down on the mess factor.
Perfect. Perfect.